Today our topic is how to face death without fear. Death is something everyone thinks about, but not many people talk about openly. It's uncomfortable, it's scary, and it's something we all try to avoid thinking about. But the truth is, death is a natural part of life. Every single person who has ever lived has faced it or will face it one day. So instead of running away from the idea of death, let's talk about how we can face it without fear. This is not about being careless or not valuing life. It's about understanding death so we can live better, fuller, and more meaningful lives. First, let's talk about why we fear death. For many people, the fear of death comes from the unknown. What happens after we die? Is there nothingness? Is there an afterlife? These questions can create a lot of anxiety because we don't have clear answers. Another reason we fear death is because we worry about the people we leave behind. Will they be okay? Will they miss us? Will they remember us? These thoughts can be overwhelming. And finally, we fear death because we feel like we haven't done enough in life. We think about all the things we wanted to do but didn't, and we feel regret. But here is the thing, fear doesn't help us. It doesn't change the fact that death will come. Instead of letting fear control us, we can choose to face death with courage and peace. One way to do this is by understanding that death is a natural part of life. Just like the sun rises and sets, just like the seasons change, life and death are part of the same cycle. Everything that is born will die. This is not something to be sad about, it's just the way things are. When we accept this, we can start to see death as something normal, not something to be feared. Another way to face death without fear is to focus on the present moment. Many of us spend so much time worrying about the future or regretting the past that we forget to live in the now. But the truth is, the present moment is all we have. The past is gone, and the future is not guaranteed. When we focus on the present, we can appreciate the life we have right now. We can enjoy the small things, a beautiful sunset, a good meal, a conversation with a friend. When we live fully in the present, we don't have as much room for fear because we're too busy living. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy, teaches us a lot about facing death without fear. The Stoics believe that death is not something to be afraid of because it's not under our control. We don't get to choose when or how we die, but we do get to choose how we live. The Stoics said that we should focus on what we can control, our thoughts, our actions, and our attitudes, and let go of what we can't control, like death. When we accept that death is inevitable, we can stop wasting energy worrying about it, and instead use that energy to live a good life. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote a lot about death. He said that death is just a natural process, like a leaf falling from a tree. It's not something to be feared because it's part of the cycle of life. He also said that we should remember that everyone who has ever lived has died or will die. Even the greatest leaders, the richest people, and the most famous artists, they all faced death. When we remember this, we can see that death is not something that happens only to us. It's something that happens to everyone, and that can help us feel less alone in our fear. Another Stoic idea that can help us face death without fear is the concept of Memento Mori, which means remember that you will die. This might sound morbid, but it's actually a very powerful tool for living a good life. When we remember that our time is limited, we are more likely to appreciate the time we have. We are more likely to focus on what really matters, like our relationships, our passions, and our values, and let go of the things that don't matter. Memento Mori reminds us that life is short, so we should make the most of it. But how do we make the most of our lives? One way is by living with purpose. When we have a clear sense of purpose, we feel more fulfilled and less afraid of death. Purpose doesn't have to be something big or grand. It can be as simple as taking care of your family, helping others, or pursuing a passion. When we live with purpose, we feel like our lives have meaning, and that makes it easier to face death without fear. Another way to face death without fear is by building strong relationships. When we have deep connections with other people, we feel less alone. We know that even if we die, the love we shared with others will live on. This can give us a sense of peace. It's also important to talk about death with the people we love. Many people avoid this topic because it's uncomfortable, but having these conversations can actually bring us closer. When we talk about our fears and our wishes, we can support each other and feel more prepared for what's to come. It's also helpful to think about what kind of legacy we want to leave behind. Legacy doesn't mean you have to be famous or do something extraordinary. It simply means thinking about the impact you want to have on the world and the people around you. Maybe your legacy is being a good friend, a loving parent, or someone who always tried to help others. When we think about our legacy, we can focus on living in a way that aligns with our values, and that can help us face death with peace and acceptance. Finally, facing death without fear requires us to let go of attachment. This doesn't mean we shouldn't care about anything or anyone. It means we should learn to appreciate what we have without clinging to it. Everything in life is temporary or possessions, our relationships, even our own bodies. When we accept this, we can enjoy life more fully because we're not holding on so tightly. We can love deeply, but we can also let go when the time comes. In conclusion, facing death without fear is not about ignoring it or pretending it doesn't exist. It's about accepting it as a natural part of life and using that acceptance to live more fully. By focusing on the present, living with purpose, building strong relationships, and letting go of attachment, we can face death with courage and peace. Remember, death is not the opposite of life, it's part of life. And when we embrace this truth, we can stop fearing death and start truly living.